Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ayoko Fashola. And yes, as promised, I said I was going to be sharing a literature to explain the significance or the symbolism of the term mountain in the chapter of Daniel chapter 2. And so I might not be giving it might not be clearly related to Daniel chapter 2, but just kind of like I guess like a literature to kind of relate to what that is. And we know of the mountain as a nation that is standing on its own, occupying the entire land and being like a conqueror. And that's what we know about the mountain in the vision of the king in Daniel chapter 2. And so just to kind of give you a deeper meaning to that same term, that same keyword mountain, we'll be looking into Leopold Aldo's text on thinking like a mountain. And so, yeah, I'm going to begin. A deep chesty ball echoes from rimrock to rimrock, rolling down the mountain and fades into the far blackness of the night. Let's just think about that for a second. Maybe you guys can see this. Let me kind of increase it up a little bit, right? All right, I think that's good. Okay, cool. Right? Something rolls down the mountain and fades into the far blackness of the night. It is an outburst of wild, defiant sorrow. I just want to think about the word a deep chesty ball echoes from rimrock to rimrock. This is like a sound, right? That rolls down the mountain and fades into the far blackness of the night, right? It is an outburst of wild, defiant sorrow, like a scream or cry, and of contempt for all the adversities, right, of the world. It is an outburst of wild, defiant sorrows and a contempt of all the adversaries of the world. Just take a second and think about that for a minute. And remember that we're doing this in relation to Daniel chapter 2. Contempt is that feeling that a person or something is beneath consideration, worthless, or deserving scorn. A contempt of all the adversities, right? Adversities of the world. Adversities of its difficulties, misfortune, right? The worthlessness of the misfortune of the world. Like, what is the point? Right? That's the scream of, it's kind of giving existentialism here down there, and you're like, it's just that scream, that scream that cries out, why is all of this happening? It says every living thing, and perhaps many are a dead one as well. So every living thing and every dead thing, pay heed to that call of, what's the point? Crying, wailing. But that mountain stands in the midst of all this rubbles, rimrock to rimrock. To the deer, it is a reminder of the way of all flesh, right? The pine, a forecast of midnight scuffles and of blood upon the snow. So this is death right here. To the coyote, a promise of gleanings to come. That's promising, right? But it's a hope of better. To the cowman, a threat of red ink at the bank, right? The cowman is worried about deficits. To the hunter, a challenge of fang against bullets, right? The hunter is thinking about the next challenge, about how would attack the animal. and perhaps the animal would attack him with his fang. Yet behind this obvious and immediate hopes and fears, there lies a deeper meaning known only to the mountain itself. So the mountain stands in the middle, and it says, behind all of this nonsense, you would say, might not be nonsense, but behind all of this obvious and immediate hopes and fears, right? There lies a deeper meaning known only to the mountain itself. That mountain stands as one that knows it all. There's a deeper meaning, something deep that the mountain knows. And all of this open fear and fears just seems like something that's shallow. And it says only the mountain has lived long enough. Only the mountain has lived long enough to listen objectively to the howl of a wolf. So they're all listening. They don't know what it is. A lot of them are just like, perhaps it's just the outburst of wild, defiant sorrow. Wild, defiant sorrow was described to be the cry of a wolf, but they never really understood that it was the howl of a wolf. They just described it in some sense of adjectives, right? It was something, but at least I can relate to it. It's some of us right now in this world. We're living in this world. A lot of things are happening, and you creatively relate to it. And you're like, you listen to that thing, and it just reminds you about that time where you did not have anything to eat, or that time where the hot soup poured on your skin and you screamed and you felt the pain. And the time where you cut yourself by slicing an onions. Perhaps it's just a scene of pain, a scene of perhaps it's a cry. And it says, those unable to decipher the hidden meaning behind, knowing nevertheless that it is there. Right? For it is felt in all wolf country and distinguishes that wolf from all other land. Those unable to decipher the hidden meaning know nevertheless that it is there, right? The coyote, the deer, right? The cowman, the hunter, they cannot decipher that it's the howl of a wolf, but even yet, even though the only the mountain knows that it's the owl of the wolf, they can't decipher that it is that, but they know that it's there. For it is felt in all wolf country and distinguishes that country from all other land. And like, I wanted to just think about the fact that the word land was even used in this literature, right? So even this is kind of like Daniel chapter 2 talks about how all of these things were there. Like on the statue was the gold, was the silver, was the clay, was all of these things that were there that showcase diversity. But even in that structure, even in that diversity and in that beauty, there was something that was very unique that was there that would one day destroy them all and take over the land. So this, I want you to think about it as pre-annihilation, pre-destruction. And so all of these things was happening. And this kind of like is a test of, say, for example, of survival of the fittest. Think about Darwinism, right? And we can see the superiority of the mountain in sense in Daniel chapter 2, the rock turning into the mountain. And so everyone did not know what it meant, the howl of the wolf, but this sound distinguished that country, distinguished the country from all other land. It tingles in the spine of all who hear woes by night, who will scan their tracks by day, right? It tingles. Even without sight or sound of wolf, it It is implicit in 100 small events. The midnight whining of a packer horse, the rattle of rolling rocks, the bound of a fleeing deer, the way shadows lie under the spruces. Only the ineducable Tyro can fail to sense the presence or absence of wolves. Let's just go back again. Only the ineducable. Only, okay? And it says Tyro is a beginner, a novice, only an ineducable novice, an illiterate, somebody that, and this is something that we can think about this literature as Daniel and the magician, in just think about the scene of the magician trying to manipulate the king to try to buy time, to try to make him change his mind concerning him disclosing the dream to him because they couldn't find out what the dream meant. Just think about that. These were ineducable tyro, ineducable novices. And in this sense, Daniel, in its sense, even though it seems like I said, the dream meant like, okay, Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon would be one day a mountain, but in its sense here, we can say Daniel, in its sense, is standing as a mountain because the mountain signifies as someone that is educated, knows knowledge, knows information, able to decipher. Are you listening to me? Only the ineducable tyro can fail to sense the presence or absence of wolves. Can fail, does not understand that there is a presence or absence of wolves, or the fact that mountains have the secret opinion about them. And so just like calm down and just relax and be like, oh, all of these things are happening. All of these different elements are being showcased in the scene. We can see the coyote, the animal, they're different, the onta, the cowman, all of these beings, even the human beings. The cowman is different from the onta. They're not the same. They have different attributes. All of these elements are playing into the scene here. But they're not the same. And it shows there that even in the complexities of things and of elements and of beings, the mountain itself was superior, but in fact, the mountain, no one could decipher that the mountains have a secret opinion about them. That the mountain was superior, looking down at them and just like thinking objectively, right? And it says, my own conviction on this core date from the day I saw a wolf die. We were eating lunch on a high rimrock, at the foot of which a turbulent river elbowed its way. And let me just show you guys what a rimrock is. What is a rimrock? It says here, a rimrock is a sheer rock at the upper edge of a plateau, canyon, or geological uplift. So something like this, right? Something like this here. Looks quite deserted, you would say. Right? It says we were eating lunch on a high rim rock, at the foot of which a turbulent river elbowed its way. We saw what we thought was a doe fording the torrent, her breast washing in white river. Let's just take a pause for a minute there. Let's take a pause. A doe, which is an animal, fording its forest. It's torrent, sorry. And let me show you what a doe is. We're still on the mountains. This is a doe, not the woman there. The doe, okay? All right. So Our breasts awash. We thought that we saw a doe ford in the torrent, our breasts awash in the white water. When she climbed the bank towards us and shook out her tail, we realized our error. What did we see? It was a wolf. A half dozen others, evidently grew pups, sprang from the willows and all joined in a welcoming melee of wagging tails and playful maulings. One was literally a pile of wolves with wrath and tumbled in the center of an open flat at the foot of our Rimrock. So there was this wolf coming out, and there was this really high description of the wolf. And it says, in those days, we had never heard of passing up a chance to kill a wolf. In a second, we were pumping lead into the pack, but with more excitement than accuracy. How to aim a steep downhill shot is always confusing. When our rifles were empty, the old wolf was down. They had killed an old wolf, and a pup was dragging a leg into impassable slide rocks. We reached the old wolf in time to watch a fierce green fire dying in our eyes. One realized then, and I've known ever since, that there was something new to me in those eyes, something known only to her and to the mountain. I was young then, full of a trigger itch. One thought that because fewer wolves meant fewer deers, that no wolf would mean hunter's paradise. But after seeing the green fire die, I sensed that neither the wolf nor the mountain agreed with such a view. At the view of the dead wolf. And perhaps was it her that killed the wolf? They killed the wolf. The death of the wolf would not have, perhaps it would have been beneficial to the hunter trying to, rationalize, or maybe not right, justify it. That's the word, justify why the wolf should be dead. And I realized that this rest of the literature is not like exactly like part of like, it's not significant to the conversation that we are having, but I'm just going to read it anyways, but I'm not going to analyze it so deeply. But I feel like we've gotten a bit of what we wanted to analyze, but then I'll bring you back into context, relating both elements of the two different literature. And so, but after seeing the green fire die, one sensed that neither the wolf nor the mountain agreed with such a view. Since then, I have lived to see state after state extirpate its wolves. I have watched the face of many a newly wolfless mountain, and seen the south-facing slopes wrinkle in a maze of new deer trails. One, I've seen every edible bush and seedless browsed, first to anemic destitute and then to death. One, I've seen every edible tree defoliated to the height of a saddle horn. Such a mountain looks as if someone had given God a new person shares and forbidden Hearn all other exercise. In the end, the starved bones of the hoped for deer herd, dead of its own too much, bleach with the bones of the dead sage or molder under the high-lined junipers. I now suspect that such as a deer herd lives in mortal fear of its wolves, so does the mountain so does the mountain live in mortal fear of its deers, and perhaps with better cause. For while a buck pulled down by wolves can be replaced in 2 or 3 years, a range pulled down by too many deers may fail of replacement in as many decades. So also with cows, the cowman who cleans the range of wolves do not realize that he's taking over the wolf's job of trimming the herd to fit the range. He has not learned to think like a mountain. Hence, we have dust bowls and rivers washing the future into the sea. Hence, we have dust bowls and rivers washing the future into the sea. So far, we can see, this writer's justification of, well, maybe not justification. In some parts, the writer is trying to justify the benefits of the wolf dying and who it's going to benefit. And then she says that, well, eventually her eyes then open to seeing, like when you want to buy a jacket, but perhaps you want to buy, for example, lip gloss, because I want lip gloss. I want to buy lip gloss. I went to get a lip gloss at Sephora. It was too expensive. I figured that I could get the lip gloss at the beauty supply store. As I was coming home, I start to see, this girl puts in, a lip gloss. Maybe I think it was like a lip balm. She's putting a lip balm on her lips. Another one was wearing a lipstick, and that person was doing something related to kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to buy lip gloss. And so your consciousness is open to, you've done that, thinking in your head, trying to rationalize or justify or think about or analyze, like, what this is, and like, just kind of think about the action, like, who is it going to benefit or who is it not going to benefit and stuff like that. And then she starts to see the same action happening, like, wolves dying out, and the progression from that. Like, what happened then? I have watched the face of many a newly wolfless mountain, just starting to see like, oh, I did that, but then in all of these places, I'm seeing wolfless mountain. In the south, hey, I saw this, that was that. In one, I've seen even every edible bush of seedling brown seed, and she was seeing all of these things, observing them, analyzing them. And then she starts to make an analysis, And then she said something like, you see, all of these things are happening, like one is killing the other. And wait, let's just see here. And she says something that, one is basically taking the job. The one that the cowman who cleans the range of wolves does not realize that he's taking over the wolf's job. And I feel like what she's trying to say here is that it was balanced to begin with, like the existence of the different species on that plot of land, on that land, right? Because she gave an example, she kind of gave a comparison of the different lands, like in the south, oh, this is happening there, in this other part, this is happening there. And she gave all the analysis of everything that's going on, and kind of gave a similarity of kind of everything that's happening. She said that such a mountain looks as if someone had given God a new pruning shears and forbidding him all other exercise, right? And she's just saying here that, it would have been best to just kind of leave everything the way they were. And perhaps maybe she's even regretting a decision of actually, killing the wolf. At the end of the day, she says, we all strive for safety, prosperity, comfort, long life, and dullness. The deer strives with his supple legs, the cowman with trap and poison, and the statesman with pen, and most of us with machines, votes, and dollars. But it all comes to the same thing: peace in our time. A measure of success in this is all well enough, and perhaps is a requisite to objective thinking. And remember what she said about the mountain just objectively thinking. The mountain can't move. The mountain is just there, just objectively thinking, right? But too much safety seems to yield only danger in the long run. Perhaps this is behind Thoreau's dictum, to reference another literature, but it says in wildness is the salvation of the world. Perhaps this is the hidden meaning of the hour of the wolf. Long enough among mountains, but seldom perceived among men. The salvation of the world, right? In wildness is the salvation of the world. I don't know. Do you agree with what she's saying? In wildness is the salvation of the world. I don't agree with what she's saying. Perhaps this is the Eden meaning in the hour of the wolf. Long enough among mountains. Like the wolf is the one that dies here in this picture, is the one that is kind of used as an artistic I can't even say specimen, because this is like, it would be less artistic in sense, but it's just like, I guess like we can say is like a creative phenomenon or being that was used to kind of that kind of created that sound, right? That created that sound that made everyone start to think and just relate, you know? But they never knew exactly that, you know, it was the wolf, right? And it says in the wilderness, maybe it's just appreciating everything, you know, appreciating the creativeness and everything, appreciating the diversity of everything, and just leaving everything the way they are. Because eventually when the man kills, and it's specifically the cowman, when he cleans his range of wolves, doesn't realize that he's actually taking over the wolf's job, you know, in trimming the head to fit the range, right? So why don't you just let beings do their jobs and just let, you know, Darwinism take its place? But then it's like, then we up into things about politics and like you know, the function of Darwinism in evolution and in politics. And so that's not what we're gonna get into today. But essentially, like, what we've kind of reviewed so far is just the objectivity of the mountain, even though all of this chaos is happening, right? All of this chaos is happening. Man's is basically debating on whether like it's okay to kind of kill wolves. Is it okay to kill wolves? Then no, there's just all this chaos. There's no like, you know, balance. There's no like objective thinking here, even though man is trying. A man can't be objective because he's directly affected by it. But mountain is unshakable, unmovable, superior. And yeah, I guess like that's just one thing that we kind of learn from Aldo Leopold's literature here. And yeah, and in its relation to Daniel chapter 2, yeah, it just shows how the rock is eventually, when they all, you know, perish, you know, when Darwinism takes its place and everything is gone, right? You know, the mountain is just staying there objectively, you know, thinking or just being objective about the whole thing, right? Taking apart, set apart, like just like Daniel chapter 2 mentions that the stone was chipped off, like was taken away, like cut off. That was the word, cut off by a hand. That it wasn't a human hand, but it was just a divine intervention, right? And the rest were crumbled. They were kind of like broken into pieces, and the wind just kind of blew them away, right? And in the crumbling, in the scruffle, in the rubbles and everything, like as they were being shredded to pieces, or shredded to pieces, right? You can see that even in that act, in the struggle, is Darwinism, okay, taking its place, Darwinism at play. And so all of this is going to happen, and this is happening right now with competition and everything happening in the world. And so eventually, my point is, in relation to Revelation, is the idea that Babylon will take its place. Capitalism is just the action of what is being said and what is going to happen, and everything that's happening right now is just that. And yeah, so yes, we are thinking like a mountain? Are you thinking like a mountain? Can you think like a mountain? Because a mountain's destiny is set on stone. Like your future is already set on stone. There is no, I'm thinking that this person is going to come and get me. So, so I have to do this one and X, Y, and Z to get the upper hand. Are you thinking like a mountain? A mountain is always objective. Like, I know I'm safe. So, you know, let me just think and analyze this person objectively, or just do things objectively, help that person objectively, right? Not being overly there's a word for it. When you're self-absorbed, right? That is, but if you have the confidence that you have a good future, knowing that you know, Babylon is, because you know, Nebuchadnezzar now has the certainty that the future of his nation is for sure set on stone, right? And so that certainty, like, do you have that certainty and that confidence? But anyways, we're going to go into Daniel chapter 3, and we're going to get an insight on, you know, what happens after. Like, he's going to have another dream, you think, right? We're going to find out, right? Does the certainty turn into uncertainty? And we as children of God, does that happen to us? You know, it depends on us, right? It depends on you. You have a choice. You say you want to follow Jesus, you have that certainty in him that when he comes, he's taking you with him to the new heaven and the new earth. But it's up to you. Will you stick it out to the very end? Or will you start to act, you know, I believe the word is whorishly. Okay, so thank you so much for watching my video today. Again, my name is Ayoko Fishola. Thank you for listening to me read this literature. And yeah, if you do like my content, you can go ahead and support me by liking, subscribing, and commenting. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Until next time. Bye, guys.